There's Oaken. He's put a link in the chat, which I won't click.
It's a cat gif.
Great. Yeah, True Void Worker says my idea is that the Soul Survivor can run it easily because they were part of the military, so it makes sense how they would at least know how to work to run the power armor. But then he contradicts himself by saying, and the female Soul Survivor was the wife of a soldier, so it kind of makes sense. But then your settlers can activate power armor as well, True Void Walker, so it kind of undermines itself slightly there. I mean, I don't necessarily mind really. It doesn't break your immersion entirely. So
Yeah, I mean, kind of the what I would say is my extrapolation of the lore at this point is that the power armor training is very akin to that one scene in Iron Man where the Department of Defense is trying to replicate it and they keep breaking bones. Because, from what I've seen of it, it uses actuators that are not driven by electrical impulse, such as would be the case with the recon suit on the T-45, but actual physical impulse from the bars for the hands and feet that drives the entire exoskeleton. So, at that point, you are sorry, lost train of thought. The frame would then hyperact your movement. So if you move really fast, it's kind of like piloting a boat. If you keep turning the boat wheel until you're facing the way you want to go, you're going to turn all the way around. So if you move really fast in power armor, really throw your hand out there, try and punch someone straight armed, then the actuators are going to continue that movement, and it's going to break your arm.
EWR123 asks, any plans for quest mods, but your own ideas instead of lore focused quests? I don't really know how to answer that. I'm not going to make a quest mod, which just makes the whole ridiculous lore unfriendly. I mean, for example, we've just in the chat with DD Productions 83, and he doesn't give a damn what he writes in his quest. They just take place. They're just an event which takes place. But for me, I mean, I want to make it as lore friendly as possible. But I find when you're attached to lore, it actually makes you write better, if you know what I mean. The limits help create a better thing. Where if there's no limits, then you can just write anything. But limits help you provide something to push against, and you can create new things and things like that. But yeah. I'm not writing any quest mods at the moment, but I am writing a companion character at the moment. So,
I definitely think you bring up something interesting there. I've seen some comments since we started working together that this shit needs a new model and a new texture and blah blah blah. And honestly, I don't take offense to it. I don't care. I take valid critique very seriously, and I will generally change things. However, the object is not to create these 80,000 triangle 8K textures clothing models. We don't need that. It immediately puts stress on the GPU. It reduces the follower base because not everybody can run it. It puts stress on just about everybody's computer when you start throwing hundreds of these things in there. A game engine can display millions and millions of polygons on screen at once, shit tons of textures, it don't matter. But when you start systematically replacing or just placing a number of these things, you increasingly stress the GPU and the system in general. And, that's one of the biggest reasons that I'm not aiming for, gigantic, extraneous, absurdly high-quality stuff. These are not portfolio pieces. These are just aiming for visual parity. We want them to fit wholly.
Yeah, and what I mean by, you're right there, and what I mean by the quest mods that I mean between lore-friendly and lore-unfriendly. It's more just a case of story events which would break the game's universe. For example, Alexander Javlicki, who's now a developer at Bungie, and he worked on Falscar. He did a mod for Fallout New Vegas before that called Demos, and the whole focus of the mod is a time machine which sends you back just before the war to help someone just like that. And I find something like that, even if the time machine was broken, kind of breaking the universe, because as soon as you have a time machine, you can go back and change what happened during the war, and you can change everything which happened. It kind of defeats the whole point of war never changes, and these things that cause that sort of drive time forward. It kind of defeats that when you can go back in time and change things, and that's what I find. That's what the kind of quests that I would be staying away from. I also find Mothership Zeta, which I probably pretend isn't real, kind of breaks the game as well, because it makes the local conflict into a kind of universal conflict, as it were, and it kind of minimizes all the events in the universe, if you know what I mean. So that's what I mean by that.
Richard, can you hold down the chat for a minute? I'm going to go have a smoke.
All right.
I will join you guys via mobile.
IIMPS asks, actually I have another question, will you add an Enclave officer uniform sometime in the future? Yeah, probably not, because these projects are quite large, and that's quite, it's a sort of an addendum thing. Anything else? We might do an NCR kit, like kind of an armor add-on system. But it's just a thought, though. It's just a thought. Which is your favorite Fallout DLC from any game? Fallout New Vegas, Dead Money. What faction is your favorite? It's a hard one. I don't know if I have a favorite faction. In Fallout New Vegas, I always go independent, but I always make sure that Securitrons are never upgraded to Mark II. Hey Dylan, you still here?
Yeah. Yep.
What's your?
I'm wondering what's a little bit of the backstory on how the NCR is going to come to the Commonwealth.
For the NCR Ranger armor, we just kind of stretched it, really. We just wanted to do the NCR Ranger armor, and it just somehow ended up there. Personally, for me, if it wasn't for us doing that, they would have never gone to the Commonwealth. So, but
it
that
sounds
doesn't.
a little. It sounds a little bit like that idea is growing, though.
What do you mean?
Maybe some NCR power armor. I mean, I'm not sure what the NPC. I'm not sure what the NPC is planned, but sounds like there could be a little backstory built up.
I could see an NCR Ranger making his or her way across the continent, and I'll leave it at that. But other than that, there's not going to be any NCR brigades in the Commonwealth, at least for me. I don't know about anyone else. So, why don't you upgrade your Securitrons? Says True Voidwalker. Because it is implied at the end of Fallout New Vegas that Yes Man is no longer a Yes Man, and he has direct control of Securitrons. And if he had Securitron Mark IIs, he would overwhelm the Mojave and cause havoc. So generally, I don't let anyone have New Vegas, but I don't let my henchmen in that regard have the power. So I just let Chaos reign. Why not NCR power armor paint for MT45? Yeah, why not? Why not? So. What about you, Dylan? What's your favorite faction, or do you have a favorite DLC?
I don't know if I had a favorite DLC, or even a favorite game for that matter. I've really just loved the whole Fallout universe through and through. I've been a fan since the Interplay and Black Isle days. Used to be a pretty rabid poster on No Mutants Allowed.
Oh yeah. Oh. Yep. Yes, they're not. I don't think they're the biggest fans of Fallout 4 these days. So
No, but whatever. I don't care what other people say. I'm gonna like what I like.
mm. Right. Crash Crisis 244 asks, "Oh, are you working on other mods, or is this the main mod you're working on?" I am working on another mod, but usually I would give you guys all the spoilers in the world, but in this case, it's kind of not fully confirmed. So, but of the mods confirmed, that will take a long time to make. I am making a Hellfire companion, a companion in the Hellfire power armor, and hopefully I'll be making a companion in Exo 2 power armor, and I want to make a Minuteman companion, and I'm sure I had another one, a Ghoul companion, mid-tech power armor, even a Chinese stealth suit. What do you guys rate Fallout 4? I give it a 8 out of 10. I can see why people don't like it, and why people, what'd you give it, Dylan?
What's that?
What'd you rate Fallout 4?
Oh man, I actually really like it. It's hard to rate it. I mean, it's somebody's art, but
Yeah.
it's good stuff
Yeah.
to me.
Well, I probably give it an 8 out of 10. I mean, you start to feel the number. And for me personally, you feel the number, and I probably felt it was like a 9 out of 10 at some points, 10 out of 10, and then some parts were frustrating, so I just sort of give it an 8 because I think there's some fundamental things that are probably missing. True Void Worker asks, how do you guys feel about No Greaves Frost mod? I don't know what that is. Is that a mod for Fallout 4? And Polite Raider asks, there's clearly some travel between east and west. Kellogg's backstory, for example, you're not likely to get a lot of factions crossing the distance, but a few objects might be traded over the distance. Yep, that's right, Polite Raider, but it's kind of... I agree. There's probably a few people that do cross the wasteland.
I'm not familiar with that either.
It kind of doesn't seem believable that people just sort of crisscross all over the area. It makes the world a lot smaller. Not to mention that the Midwest is probably full of dangers and everything like that. So,
I actually haven't tried the survival mode, but it seems right up my alley. I might actually make it harder.
Gopher did a video where apparently he kept complaining about the fact that it affects your gameplay motivation if you're always looking for a bed. I kind of agree with that. It kind of makes it but on the other hand, it kind of makes it, if you go to sleep every night, for example, or every day, it kind of makes it into a kind of light, what's the word? Roguelite game, if you know what I mean? For survival.
Yeah, I mean, I would, once I play it, I plan to write up a little bit of a synopsis on how they might be able to avoid the whole sleep bullshit.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to add... shit, hold on. Going to add someone to the chat. True Void Walker.
I don't think I'm gonna play survival at all, to be
No?
honest.
No, I can understand that, yeah.
I'm kind of a little bit of a hoarder. I think my weight is somewhere around 8,000 right now. I can't even move without God mode on.
Yeah, that certainly
Yeah,
wouldn't
that's
work with
cool.
survival.
Yeah, I mean, I can't actually try it, guys, because I mod the game, and as soon as it upgrades to the beta, it's not happening in terms of FO4 edit, so I'll
Yeah,
just wait until...
I did notice, I tried to launch the game this weekend, I think it was yesterday, to show Tony, how fucked my computer is, and I realized that I